Leadership speak. Thank you. Welcome to Leadership Speak, an advanced Toastmaster club for leadership development. We are one of the top 5 clubs globally. My name is Helene Hermok, your sergeant at arms of the meeting. Our club's mission: we provide a supportive and positive learning experience in which members are empowered to develop communication and leadership skills, resulting in greater self-confidence and personal growth. Leadership statement: Leadership Speak is the premier club for experienced Toastmasters to become better self-directed leaders. We are an advanced club focused primarily on leadership development in everything we do. Our timer has the visual hands raised, so we all can immediately see who is keeping the time. Our Toastmaster of the day, who will lead our meeting, is Toastmaster Arouna Sow. He is statistician, economist, engineer by training. Arouna Sow works as macroeconomist expert in the financial markets, loves to read and travel. He is Toastmaster since April 2021 from Dhaka, Senegal, and he is serving as the VPPR in its clubs. Please help me welcome our Toastmaster of the day, Arouna Sow. Yeah, back to you, Arouna Sow. Go ahead.
Thank you, Lynn. Good morning, everyone. Good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. I'm from Senegal, a West African country known as the land of hospitality. I would like to invite each participant in this meeting to put on your video and to post in the chat the country you are from, so you will be able to know where you are joining the meeting. As we are doing that, I will also welcome our first-timer guest and not forgetting our returning guest to Leadership Speak. At Leadership Speak, we believe that connection is key to build strong relationship. And for that reason, I will also ask our sergeant at arms to post our guest book on the chat box, and our guests can fill the book, and at the end of the meeting, we will connect with them. The theme of today's meeting is leading with strategic intelligence, how to deal with information in the era of new technology and of communication, and also in the era of artificial intelligence. In the era where information is everywhere, where chaos is everywhere. And someone said, if you remain calm in a challenging situation, you will win. And leaders need clarity to decide. In what we do at Leadership Speak, we premier club for self-directed leaders, and we are one of the top 5 clubs globally. The success at Leadership Speak doesn't come overnight. Preparedness is key. We lead with the end in mind. Our regular meeting starts 3 weeks before. All role players receive training. We have also 2 meetings for practice. This allowed us to anticipate shifts instead of enduring them. At Leadership Speak, we don't just manage information, we master it. We build leaders who transform complexity into decisive clarity, convert uncertainty into opportunity. Leaders will think strategically, decide boldly, and shape the future. Ladies and gentlemen, as we move to our next session of the meeting, I would like to invite Mohammad Azimuddin, our toast deliverer today, to deliver his toast. Zoom Master, can you spotlight Mohammad, please?
Thank you very much, Toastmaster of the Day, fellow Toastmasters, and my fellow self directed leaders. Have you ever noticed that the brightest stars don't shine for us when the skies are clear, but when the night is darkest? In the same way, leadership is not tested when the path is smooth. It reveals itself when uncertainty surrounds us, when choices are complex, and when clarity is hardest to find. Today, we live in the world overflowing with information. We scroll, we swipe, we analyze. And yet, so often, we remain trapped in endless reaction. My leaders, many leaders chase the next crisis, rushing without direction, but the exceptional ones rise above the noise. They bring clarity where there is confusion. They act with courage when the path is unclear. They step forward, not because they have all the answers, but because they have the vision to light the way. The management thinker Peter Drucker once wrote, the greatest danger in times of turbulence is not the turbulence. It is to act with yesterday's logic. These words reminds us that leadership today is not about clinging to what worked before. It is about seeing differently, thinking boldly, and choosing wisely, especially when the map no longer matches the terrain. That is the essence of strategic intelligence, the vision with discipline. It is foresight with purpose. It is courage in action. And it is compass that points us forward when familiar landmarks disappear. And here in Toastmasters, we cultivate this every day we speak. We transform scattered thoughts into message that inspire. We turn hesitation into confidence and fear into clarity. We are not just learning to speak, we are learning to lead. So tonight we celebrate to the kind of leadership that dares to shape the future instead of waiting for it. In the name of leaders who do not drown in information but rise with wisdom. In the name of leaders who do not freeze in uncertainty, but move with foresight. In the name of leaders who do not merely react to change, but create it. Fellow leaders and Toastmasters and guests, unmute yourself, open your camera, and raise your glasses to leaders with strategic intelligence.
So leaders with strategic
in
intelligence.
strategic intelligence.
Strategic intelligence.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you, Mohammad, for reminding us leaders need to raise among chaos. And now we will move to our role takers. And the first role takers is Robin Stone from South Africa. Robin, can you tell us what your role is about as timer?
Certainly. Thank you. Thank you very much, Mr. Toastmaster of the day. I'm your timer for today's meeting, and I will time each speaker according to the agenda and signal using the virtual color backgrounds, which I'm going to show you. It's green, yellow, and red. After each segment, I will post the timing results in the chat. Thank you, Mr. Toastmaster.
Thank you, Robin, for reminding us your hand will be raised during the entire meeting, and we need to pay attention on that. Our next role player is the grammarian, and today our grammarian is Nelly Galido. Nelly, can you please tell us what is your responsibility as grammarian?
Thank you, Mr. Toastmaster of the day. Fellow Toastmasters and guests, I am your grammarian for today, and as grammarian, it is my responsibility to pay close attention to all the speakers, listening carefully to their language usage. I'll take note of any improper language, as well as any outstanding words, quotes, sayings, or thoughts. As grammarian, it is also my duty to introduce the word of the day. For today's meeting, the word of the day is foresight, which means the ability to anticipate what may happen in the future and prepare wisely for it. An example of using the word is at Leadership Speak. We learn that true leaders use foresight to transform vision into action and challenges into opportunities. Each speaker is encouraged to use the word of the day. I will give the grammarian's report when called upon during the meeting and also report the usage of the word of the day. Thank you, Mr. Toastmaster. Back to you.
Thank you, Nelly. Now we will move on to the purpose speeches part of the meeting. And our first speaker is Marie Cusin from Swiss. And I will invite our evaluator, Sandra, to tell us about the objective of Marie's speech.
Thank you so much. Marie has put a lot of foresight into preparing this extensive speech. She is doing motivational strategies, project 5-8, level 5, part 8, I should say, preparing to speak professionally, which means a longer speech. And that's a skill all of its own. She's to present a keynote style speech exemplifying professional level speaker points of view in a style that supports the speech contest. On a personal level, she is asking us to focus on the pace and the energy and see if the audience is convinced of the merits of the methods that she's bringing forward. So please stay attentive and watch and see. I'll be watching your faces if you are convinced. So listen up, everyone. Looking forward to Marie. Thank you. Back to you, Toastmaster.
Thank you, Sandra. Marie's speech title is the 47 welcome messages from noise to strategic goal. And I can wait to learn how to transform noise into goal. The 47 welcome messages from noise to strategic goal, Marie Cusin. Marie Cusin is all yours. The floor is yours. Zoom Master, can you stop slide, Marie? Thank you.
Picture this. It's 9 a.m. You unlock your phone and bam! 47 WhatsApp notifications from your professional group. Every single one says the same thing. Welcome, Marie! Glad to have you. Congrats! A tidal wave of kindness. It's nice, but utterly useless. Raise your hand if you've been there. Yes, you know what I mean. Dear guests and fellow Toastmasters, we live in the information age, but let's be honest, most of us are drowning in it. As the former PR of the International Summit of Francophone Speakers, where I worked with more than 40 people across 45 countries, I saw this pattern everywhere. And today, I want to show you how to turn that chaos into a strategic advantage. How to shift from buying a perpetual firefighter to becoming a visionary leader. Someone who shapes the future through the principle of strategic intelligence. So, here's my speech. As you can see, you will have the problem, the solution, and the resolution, of course. The problem, information overload. 4 minutes. It takes about 4 minutes to be submerged by the waves of information. Here's the hard truth. According to Microsoft, the average knowledge worker checks their email every 11 minutes. We face 3 critical challenges. Challenge 1. It is analysis paralysis. Challenge 2. Firefighting trap. Fire 3. Confusing information with intelligence. Challenge 1. Analysis paralysis. We collect so much data that we freeze. Imagine a manager receiving 200 emails a day, spending 2 hours sorting instead of deciding. Harvard Business Review reports that more 7% of executives feel overwhelmed by information. Challenge 2, the firefighting trap. Instead of anticipating, we react. We become organizational firefighter, always chasing the next emergency. Studies show reactive leaders make 40% more costly mistakes than proactive leaders. And finally, challenge 3, confusing information with intelligence. Having access to everything isn't the same as knowing what matters. Owning a library doesn't mean you know how to extract its wisdom. On his, where our WhatsApp example comes. Full circle. A new member joined. 40 people send generic welcome messages. Within minutes, the thread becomes unreadable. Real impact? Zero. Human connection? Lost in the digital noise. Blah, 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 blah. This is exactly what happens in boardrooms, team meetings, and strategic sessions. Lots of activity, very little insight. So, what's the antidote to this chaos? The solution? The strategic intelligence framework. It rests on three essential capabilities: signal detection, filtering out the critical insights from the background noise, pattern recognition, spotting trends before they become obvious, value creation, turning uncertainty into competitive advantage. And here it is, for the framework focus. But what does it mean exactly? To make this practical, let me share a system. Think of it as your roadmap for transforming noise into strategy. F. Filter Rozy. Ask, does this move our core goals forward? O. Organize systematically. Not every piece of information deserves instant attention. C. Connect strategically. The new data to existing knowledge pattern. Build understanding, not just awareness. U. Use proactively. Insights without action are just expensive noise. S. Scale wisely. Replicate what works across contexts while adapting to specific needs. WhatsApp case study from noise to strategy. At the International Summit of Francophone Speakers, our leadership WhatsApp group was pure chaos. Whole system was reactive. New member joins avalanche of generic messages. Unreadable thread. Zero meaningful connection. New system strategic intelligence. Strategic pause. Instead of instant noise, we built in a 2-hour reflection window. We do an emoji acknowledgement. When a new member's intro sheet was shared, members react with emojis instead of cluttering the feed. And finally, private target connection. Each member identified common ground or unique interest, then reached out directly. Tools like LinkedIn or even ChatGPT helped structure thoughtful, personalized messages. The result: One rich group message, the intro sheet full of warm emoji support, plus real one-to-one connection that actually matters. Example in action. When Mary joined digital transformation consultant on Photography Lover, she didn't drown in 47 welcome clones. Instead, she saw her profile highlighted in the group with a wave of supportive emoji. She received a personal message from Paul, an HR consultant. Mary, your human-centered approach to digital transformation fascinates me. I'd love to hear how you balance tech adoption with employees' engagement. And by the way, your sunset photo, gorgeous. I'm a fellow photography enthusiast. Which do you think made her feel more valued? Of course, the personal messages. So the three strategic pillars. This approach rests on three unshakable pillars. Clarity over chaos. Proactivity over reactivity, and connection over volume. Clarity over chaos. Identify what truly drives results. Systematically eliminate noise. Focus resources where they have real impact. Proactivity over reactivity. Anticipate needs through pattern analysis. Prepare responses before crisis erupts. And build the foundation for sustainable success. Finally, connection over volume. Prioritize quality over quantity in communication. Always that, always. Create value in every interaction and build durable strategic partnerships. So this example, it is an application of universal application. Scaling strategic intelligence. Here's the beauty of the focus framework. It works anywhere. It doesn't matter if you're running a team, designing company strategy, or just building your personal network. Strategic intelligence transforms the way you operate. In team leadership, for example, swap endless, draining meetings for intelligence briefings. One tech company cut meeting time by 60% while improving decision quality by structuring how information was collected and shared. In corporate strategy, instead of flooding teams with market data, create costume intelligence dashboards that guide precise decisions. A manufacturer client of ours boosted the success rate of strategic projects from 60% to 80% by doing exactly that. And finally, in personal networking. Forget the superficial, nice to meet you. Strategic intelligence turns casual contact into meaningful, lasting connections. Quality relationships are built with intention, not volume. Measurable impact. Our WhatsApp experiment. Over 6 months, with more 120 members, our group messaging volume dropped by more than 80%. Meaningful one-on-one connection doubled. Member satisfaction with new member integration hit nearly 100. On cross-member collaboration, project jumped by 70%. On these aren't just isolated numbers. We're seeing the same pattern in organization everywhere. When you replace reaction with strategic intelligence, efficiency and effectiveness don't just add up, they multiply. In conclusion, your strategic intelligence action plan. So, what do you do when you walk out of this room? Let me give you 3 immediate actions. Action 1, run a personal intelligence audit. Yes. This week, track your signal to noise ratio. For every piece of information, for every piece of information you consume, ask, is this creating strategic advantage or just eating up mental bandwidth? Action 2, design a strategic system. Pick your highest impact communication channel, maybe team meetings, client interaction, or even family discussions, and apply the focus framework. Start small. Measure the difference. Action 3. Define strategic metrics. Choose 2 or 3 key indicators that will tell you if strategic intelligence is working in your world. Because remember, what gets measured gets managed. The strategic intelligence mindset. Toastmasters and their guests. We stand at a crossroad. We can keep drowning in tidal waves of information, or we can rise as architects of clarity. Strategic intelligence isn't just for fortune CIO. It starts with a simple question. How can I turn this complexity into competitive advantage? And here is the truth. In an age of information overload, strategic intelligence isn't optional. It's your ultimate differentiator. The leader who detects signal while others shades noise will shape tomorrow's opportunities. So, the next time you see 47 identical notifications, don't roll your eyes. Smile. Because now you hold the framework to transform that chaos into a symphony of strategy. Think strategically. Decide boldly. Lead with intelligence. Back to you, Toastmaster of the day.
Thank you, Marie, for sharing with us your strategic intelligence framework. And leaders need to be focused in chaos by filter ruthlessly, organize systematically, connect strategically, use proactively, and scale wisely. Now I will invite guests who join us now. We have the guest book posted on the chat. I will invite you to fill this book, and later on the meeting, we will connect with you. Now we will move to our next speaker. Our next speaker is Phibian Joseph from the beautiful land of Guyana. And I will call Phibian Evaluator. Phibian will be evaluated by Wainga Chijiga from South Africa. Wainga, may I ask you to explain what is the purpose of Phibian's speech?
Phibian Joseph is in a dynamic leadership path. He's taking his DAT project in level 1, vocal variety and body language. The purpose of his speech is practice using vocal variety and body language to enhance his speech. In addition, Phibian requests that I look out for his emotional connection with the audience and his call to action. All the best, Phibian, and back to you, Toastmaster of the Day. I'm from Kenya, not South Africa, but I would wish to visit South Africa.
Sorry. Noted. Phibian's speech title is We Fall Down, We Get Up. We fell down, we get up. Phibian, Phyllis. The floor is yours.
We fall down, but we get up. We fall down, but we get up. La 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 la. Who falls down? 17 times an hour, an infant falls. And we sing, and we clap, and we say, yes, daddy baby, you can make it. And we sing them back up. But when we fall, society calls it failure. They say success is everything, but no one talks about the stumbles before the spotlight or the silence before the applause. What if we stop hiding failures and start honoring them? Imagine walking into a room and say, I have failed. And the entire room stands and clap. Not because you fell, but because you had the courage to rise. Society celebrates the destination, but they shame the detours. We see the medals, but not the bruises. The promotions are not the panic attacks. But here's the truth. Failure isn't the opposite of success. It is the teacher, the trainer. It is the path. Fresh out of the University of Guyana, I was given a management position with no experience, no training. I was selected to present my monthly report. My heart started racing. Boop, 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 boop. Hands got so sweaty. As I read that report line by line, praying, it made sense. When I finished, my boss took that report, flung it to the other side of the desk, and he said, "That was the worst report I ever heard." All my colleagues burst out with a laugh. No one stood up for me. And that moment didn't just embarrass me, it broke something inside of me. And from that day, I could not send another report without it being checked by my sister or a close one. But that wasn't the first time I felt like I did not belong. When I was small, I had a very heavy tongue, and I could not pronounce the letters in the alphabet properly. So instead of saying M-N-O-P, I said Enonemoti, miss. And they laughed. I was called the slow one and separated from the high achievers. But today, I believe that God did not separate me to shame me. He separated me to elevate me. So any one of you here who have been separated, laughed at, I am here, a standing proof that your fall is not the end. The hardest thing about falling is not knowing how to rise, especially when no one claps. We don't just fear the fall, we fear the whispers, the stares, the voices inside that says, "You are not good enough. You should have known better. Why even try?" Those voices, it turns stumbles into shame. But the problem isn't only about falling. It's what we tell ourselves when we do. And as we grow, society teaches us to hide our failures. We trade curiosity for caution, vulnerability for performance, and soon we begin to believe the lie that falling makes us unworthy. Where I came from, we were told, don't hang your dirty laundry in public. And maybe that's the reason why so many people fall in silence, because they don't allow their wounds to breathe. But what if in the middle of your fall, someone whispered and said, "I believe in you"? What if we had the courage to rise and we celebrated it, and not just the success at the top? Growth happens when we dare to fall forward. And when we do fall, the loudest voice isn't always the one outside, it's inside. Some spiral inwards, others reach out to friends, to mentor, or prayer. Some lean into faith, and I know I do. Because in my lowest moments, when I've questioned everything, I've clung to this promise: I can do all things through Christ that strengthens me. It's not just a verse for me, it's my lifeline. And others find healing through therapy or honest conversation. But sometimes just sitting in a virtual room like this, listening to someone say out loud what you have been carrying in silence reminds you that you are not alone. So don't bury those failures. Build on it. And let's build a world we imagine, a world where we no longer hide our failures. We honor them. We fall down, but we get up. We get up together. Toastmaster today.
Thank you, Phibian, to remind us fear is not the opposite of success. It's part of it. And we can build on fear to be successful. Now we will move on to our next speaker. Our next speaker is Anna Schmidt, and Anna will be evaluated by Miral Kanti-Ghosh. Miral, can you tell us what Anna's project is about?
Thank you. Thank you so much, Toastmaster Arouna. Today, Hannah will deliver a speech from Pathways Presentation Mastery Level 2 Project Introduction to Toastmaster Mentoring. The purpose of this project is for the member to clearly define how Toastmaster envisions mentoring. All the best to Hannah. Back to you, Toastmaster of the day.
Thank you very much. And the title of Anna's speech is That Gentle Nudge. That gentle nudge, Anna's speech. Anna, the virtual lantern is yours. Zoom Master, can you spotlight Anna, please? Thank you.
Fellow Toastmasters, do you truly understand the power of mentoring? That mutual relationship where an experienced person, a mentor, provides guidance, encouragement, and ongoing support. Mentoring just doesn't open doors, it transforms the way we step into the world together, side by side. However, there are times when that gentle nudge becomes essential, as we sometimes need that extra encouragement from someone experienced who guides us with empathy, direction, and sometimes patience. Mr. Toastmaster, I joined Toastmasters bursting with excitement, ready to conquer this stage. My approach, like Frank Sinatra said, I did it my way. And the only problem with this, my way, forgot a few essentials, such as structure, coherence, and clarity. And it took me a while to realize this. And when I really needed someone, extra encouragement, maybe a push, or that gentle nudge to improve it. When the gentle nudge isn't enough, Jessica, my mentor, is willing to use that extra prod, that extra poke, yet delivering it with genuine authenticity. Oh, Anna, sometimes it can hurt. This serves as an extra motivation for me. I need to succeed in my Toastmasters career or journey. Fast forward. After one of my icebreaker speeches, Jessica pulled me aside. She just didn't say, "Oh, Hannah, wow, well done." No. She said, "I understand your direction. and I'd like to walk with you. And that walk turned into a journey, and we are still going strong. Jessica, my DTM, dedicated to mastery, stepped in as a loyal friend and confidant. True dedication is about helping me master my confidence, my speeches. It was only then that I realized the true role of a mentor to provide guidance, motivation, and emotional support. And the outcome, this DTM, dedication to mastery, enhanced my leadership skills, supported my personal growth, and increased my self-confidence. This journey together unlocked my hidden potential in communication and leadership. Jessica, I hear so much about mentoring and coaching. What is the difference? Is there a difference? Hannah, mentoring is development-driven. Approach emphasis future growth through long-term, sometimes lifelong relationships. Coaching is focused specifically on performance. Once that skill is acquired, coaching often closes. For example, think of athletics. They motivate athletes to reach their goal as fast as possible, and then it stops. Aha, thank you, Jessica. Jessica inspired me, and thanks to her guidance and unshakable faith in me, I have become a mentor myself. I now use my skills she has given to me for my fellow Toastmasters here in Namibia in the community clubs to reach their goals. 2020. Since then, I have been actively participating in online and digital mentoring. During my Zoom hopping experience, I connected with Leadership Speak, an online club for self-directed leaders with members from 34 countries. At our Tuesday meetings, we call them extraordinary. We enhance our critical thinking skills by focusing on the core of mentoring. And these sessions meetings give members the chance to grow through evaluating that emphasize critical thinking and offer constructive feedback. Our master coach, Bram, mentors us and helps us reach heights we could not achieve alone. The Knowledge Gate on Tuesdays helps us refine our performance for our meetings, weekly meetings on a Saturday. Fellow Toastmasters, at the start of my speech, I asked, do you truly understand the power of mentoring? Whether you receive it or give it, mentoring doesn't just open the doors, it transforms the way we step into the world together, side by side. Yet, there are moments when we need that extra poke, that extra prod, that gentle nudge. Mr. Toastmaster,
Thank you very much, Hannah, by sharing with us the difference between coaching and mentoring. Coaching is focused on performance, while mentoring provides guidance and motivation. Now we will move to our next speaker, and our next speaker is Rozy Rana from Nairobi, Kenya, and she will be evaluated by Vinod Panicker. Vinod, can you tell us what is the objective of Rozy's speech?
Thank you, Toastmaster of the Day. Toastmaster Rozy is going to present her speech from the path Motivational Strategies, Level 3. It's an elective project using presentation software. The purpose of the project is to introduce or review basic presentation software strategies for creating and using slides to support and enhance a speech. Rozy has specially mentioned to make sure to focus on the smoothness of the speech and the connection with the audience. Thank you very much and all the best, Rozy.
Thank you very much, Vinod. And Rozy, speech title is What is Your Cup? What is your cup? Rozy Rana, the floor is yours.
Fellow Toastmasters, how do you simplify complex ideas? We've been talking about breaking down complexity. For a long time, human beings have used analogies. We've heard of the glass half empty or half full, and how you view it will determine whether you're optimistic or pessimistic. Then there is that analogy of eating a frog, commonly used in time management to signify eating that challenging task first without interruption. As I look at this, and if you know me, you know that I would rather drink coffee or sip on delicious coffee than play with water. Or, I'm puzzled. Why would anyone eat a frog? It may be cultural, but why? Today, we're going to look at coffee as an analogy to leadership. And for that, I welcome each one of you to Leadership Coffee House, where we will break down different coffee drinks and look at how they relate to leadership. When you look at a menu, you'll probably see several drinks. Just a few of those are in front of you. I'll begin with the espresso, the Italians' pride and joy, the espresso. If you have ever drunk an espresso, you know that an espresso is strong, bold, rich, just 25 milliliters, sometimes 30. It's extracted through pressurized water, and therefore you get a really strong drink. Leaders who are direct, who focus on a task, are a bit like this espresso. They are intense, they are thorough, but they finish a task. But often we too, or any one of us, might have a task that you really, really must do properly and perfectly, just like that intense espresso. These leaders are sometimes faulted for being too transactional. And this takes me to the second drink, a cappuccino. This beautiful, harmonious drink, which has coffee, milk, foam, and leaders who are like cappuccinos are leaders who balance results with relationships, those tasks with people, who look at balancing confidence with humility so they are not arrogant. If you're like a cappuccino, then you are that balanced leader. Next, I'll take you to a recent trend, which is the cold brew. Now, this is different from an iced drink. If you've ever had a cold coffee, just in case you've never tried to prepare it, which most of us may not have, did you know that a cold brew takes anywhere between 12 hours to 18 and often even 24 hours to prepare? A cold brew needs patience. It needs to steep through the grinds so that it is ready. Leaders realize that things do not happen overnight. You have a vision, yes, but your results, or you're not going to realize that vision overnight. You have to be patient. Think of your mentor-mentee relationship. You can't rush it. If you truly want to transform somebody or help someone grow, you have to let that growth steep for real richness. And therefore, cold brew is about patience. So today, through these coffee drinks, you're not only seeing styles, but you're seeing characteristics and qualities that leaders should have to be effective. Next, I'm going to talk about the flat white. The flat white, look at that picture. You know, the coffee blends in so well with the milk that you can barely see the differentiation. And I look at that as inclusive leadership. And this takes me to our very own leadership speak, where we have individuals, members from 34 different countries. We have to be inclusive. We have to make sure that no one's voice is louder than the others. Listen to different perspectives. Allow everyone to speak. Now that is a flat white and true leadership that is inclusive. But these are just a few drinks because coffee is ever evolving. We started with, just a basic pour over in the olden days, or a drink that is like a filter press. Over time, we've seen specialty drinks. We've seen cold brews, iced drinks. We are now seeing even newer trends. Some trends are coming back. We've seen coffee with oat milk, soy milk, spiced pumpkin, but a few people are going back to dairy. Trends change, fashions also come back. Look at Toastmasters when we introduced a new program, but if we heard our CEO during the session, during the business meeting, he talked about bringing back the first manual from the 40s. Fashions become popular, but most importantly, are you keeping up with trends? Because just like coffee, if you want to stay fresh, you have to keep innovating, going back if that's what is demanded of you and if that's what people want. So, my dear friends, what's in your cup? The next time you go to a restaurant or you make coffee at home, what's in your cup? Is it focused leadership? Is it balanced leadership? Are we being patient? Are we being forward thinking, inclusive, visible, humble? Are we looking at cultural? Whatever it may be, I say to you that the analogy of using coffee with leadership just shows you that leadership is like coffee. It energizes you. And remember, John Maxwell said, leadership is influence, nothing more, nothing less. So when you have your coffee or when you display or demonstrate leadership, make sure that you are aware of its impact on others. So what coffee are you and how does it impact others? Thank you very much. And back to you, Mr. Toastmaster.
Thank you very much, Rozy, and thank you for sharing the fact that coffee is like leadership. And like coffee, leaders need to keep innovating in order to be an effective leaders. So now we will move on to our next speaker, and our next speaker is Eirini Asimina Stamatoupoulou, and evaluator is Ray Rivero. Ray, can you explain what is the objective of Eirini's speech?
Thank you very much, Mr. Toastmaster of the Day. Eirini today is going to be doing her icebreaker, a first speech from the dynamic leadership path. She will be doing some highlights of a journey to her PhD, and she wants me to pay attention to the transitions and how it relates to us as Toastmasters. I kind of were a little interested to see how she's going to fit this in when we normally have a 5 to 7 minute speech, but said, don't worry, Ray, I'll do better. I'll fit it into a 4 to 6 minute speech. So let's see how she does that. Over to you, Mr. Toastmaster today.
Thank you very much, Ray. And for our first speech at Leadership Speak, Eirini's speech title is From Quiet Observer to Confident Voice. From Quiet Observer to Confident Voice, Eirini Stamatoupoulou. The virtual lantern is yours.
Thank you, Arouna, Toastmaster of the Day. Dear fellow Toastmasters and esteemed guests, have you ever walked into a room and felt like a ghost? You were physically present, you were listening intently, but for some reason, the proper words, just wouldn't come out. The brilliantly on point you wanted to make, the insightful question you wanted to ask, they just stayed locked behind your teeth. Maybe you were afraid of sounding foolish, or waiting till you sharpen enough your message or the ideal conditions to happen in order to be heard. For a long time, that was me. I was a quiet observer, a ghost in my own life, especially when I started my journey as a PhD student. Even here in our common club, I remained largely silent till today when I found the courage, finally, to deliver this icebreaker. Today, I want to share that transformational journey with you, from the silence of self-doubt to the discovery of my own voice. My PhD program was a dream that came true, a chance to immerse myself in a subject I was passionate about. But the reality was quite different. I found myself in a world of intellectual giants, or dinosaurs, if you like, where every conversation, every proposal you made felt like a high-stake debate. So I became silent. The silence wasn't just a lack of participation, it was a symptom of deeper struggle. It was self-doubt, whispering in my ear, your ideas are not good enough. You don't belong here. Then comes the isolation, the feeling of being a fraud, a quiet imposter syndrome, creating a loop of hesitation and anxiety. However, I was always empathetic with others. And a turning point of my journey was when a younger student told me once I was not good enough, comparing herself with an established retired professor who dedicated all his career in his field of study. With a clear sense of empathy, I told her, don't you think it's unfair to compare the outcome of only a year of work with more than half a century? In that moment, I realized I was a good coach for others, but for myself, I was still waiting for someone else to give me permission, to guidance to lead in my field, to tell me that my voice mattered. I needed to lead myself with the same empathy as I lead others. My first act of self-directed leadership was joining a group of peer PhD students. I was one of them, and I needed no one to give me permission to introduce myself again. Then I started blocking time on my calendar just to stay connected with my research topic. Afterwards, I made a list with every achievement I have done, and the list was growing fast. And finally, the superpower of target. I committed to myself working on a super small, tiny turtle step towards the completion of my studies, a limited time ranging from 2 minutes or the whole day, and bang! Over time, these small actions began to add up. I started to initiate conversation, to suggest ideas in group meetings, and to find my place, not just as an observer, but as a participant and a clear leader in my own field. I learned that my lived experience, the struggle, the self-doubt, the isolation, was a kind of expertise in itself. It was the very thing that allowed me to approach my work with empathy and purpose. The voice I found, it was authentic, it was honest, it was my own. And that is my hope for you today. I've shared this journey because it reflects a very personal challenge I faced. My expertise isn't just academic, it's lived experience. The most profound lesson I've ever learned is that confidence doesn't arrive fully formed, but it's built step by step by leading ourselves first. So if one, a quiet observer like me, can take those first sinky steps to find and use my voice, so can you. The purpose to confidence begins not with a role, but with a single small and deliberate act of self-directed leadership. Thank you. Toastmaster of the Day, back to you.
Thank you very much, Irene, for this speech. And now we will move to our next but not least speaker. Our next speaker, last speaker of today's meeting is Eirini Cassinela. And Eirini will be evaluated by Arouna Sow. Luciano, can you explain what is the objective of Eirini's speech?
Thank you very much. Good afternoon. So for Eirini's speech today is going to be doing is project 1, level 1 on the pathway for communication mastery, and it's a icebreaker. So the main intent for the icebreaker is for the member to start speaking and introduce himself to the club. So that's the main objective. Thank you. Over to you, Toastmaster Rozy.
Thank you, Luciano. And the Irish speech title is Scare, Setbacks, and Surprises, My Career Journey. Scare, Setbacks, and Surprises, My Career Journey. Eirini Cassinela, the floor is yours.
They say a nice breaker is to get people to know you. I could tell you about my resume, but let's be honest, resumes are boring. Instead, I would like to tell you all about how I once lost my job. I lost my job. I was fired. And I was fired with no reason. I was fired with no reason. It cannot get any worse than that. No, it cannot. I was working in the field and heading back to the office. I arrived in the office. There was my Canadian manager. Irish, welcome back to the office. Have a seat. Irish, I'm afraid to tell you that we no longer need your service. This is your paycheck. This is the door. I was shocked. I asked, have I done anything? Or have not I done anything? No, Irish, we don't need your services anymore. This is your paycheck. This is the door. Make sure you do not hit the door on your way out. Fellow Toastmasters, if you have ever lost your job, please put your hands up, make a sign, wave to me, do something if you ever lost your job. Thank you, fellow Toastmasters and esteemed guests. I am not so unique. I am not so special. I was heading back home. The journey back home, trust me, felt like an eternity to hell. I was angry. I was devastated. I was beating myself up. I was almost hit by a car. This is how bad it was. No foresight to get me prepared. No foresight. For the Toastmasters and esteemed guests, life often has funny ways to teach us lessons. What I thought was the worst thing that ever happened to me, what I thought was the end, was actually the start of something bigger, something greater, something more rewarding. What I thought was my end was actually just the beginning of something great. Not long after, I got an opportunity with a major oil company, top 3 major oil company in the world. Couldn't be anything better than that. So, of course, I did not start in a fancy office with a suit and a tie. No, I started at the bottom. And I didn't climb, I did not use an elevator. I used the stairs on my way up in the organization. I used the stairs, not an elevator. And some of those stairs, trust me, they were very steep. And what shaped me along those many years were not the promotions, but the scars. The scars. The scars for those masters and dear guests. The challenges, those were the ones that shaped me the most. The long night shifts without sleep, the nationalities, the diversities, the different backgrounds from people around the world, the Nigerians, the Canadians, again, the Canadians, yes, the Canadians, the Americans, the British, the South Africans, the Indians, the people from Kenya. I worked with them all. And they taught me resilience and perspective. And trust me, you don't need to be the smartest guy or girl in the group, but you need to know your why. You need to know your why. You need to know the end game. So today, as I stand here, I'm not speaking to tell you about my career highlights. I'm offering you today a story of doors closing. I'm offering to you today, your plan can be this small. God's plan can be this big. He closes the door, but opens an even bigger, more rewarding door. And in the way, today, as I said, I'm a senior manager in an oil and gas company. But let not the title fool you. It's not about the title. It's not what you get. It's who you become on the way up. So as I introduce myself in this icebreaker, I'm not giving you a career highlight, but I'm offering you a story of setbacks, of scars, of challenges, and of new chances, new opportunities. If you take nothing more, take this. Life may push you down. Life may push you down. But probably, just probably, it's offering you something bigger and greater. Over to you, Toastmaster of today.
Thank you very much, Eirini. life has funny ways to teach us lesson. Now we are coming to the end of the prepared speech part of our meeting, and I would like to invite our timer, Rubin, to post speaker timing report in the chat box. And I also invite our Zoom master to launch best effort speakers poll. Now it is time for evaluation, and I will let the control of the meeting to our general evaluator, who is none other than our dear president, Omsten. Omsten is the club president, our president, who works as a project manager for the Singapore government. He believes that all leaders need to prioritize, and that is how strategic intelligence comes in. Holmes, the virtual lantern is yours.
Thank you so much, Arouna. Members and guests, what a wonderful meeting with each and every single speech having a core message beautifully delivered. As we go into the evaluation section, we will explore specifically what are some of the areas they have done well, and despite doing well, how can they do even better? The heart and the spirit of education. In this evaluation segment, I, as the general evaluator, will also be observing each and every single evaluator to provide a short, about 45 seconds to a minute feedback to focus on one single thing they have done well and how they can do it even better. After that, I will deliver my general report. Now, without further ado, I'd like to invite the first evaluator, Angela Brown. Angela Brown believes that leading with strategic intelligence is important because it provides a clear focus that inspires participants to connect leadership decisions with thoughtful analysis, vision, and purposeful action. Angela Brown, over to you.
Good morning, fellow Toastmasters and distinguished guests, especially you, Mohammed. I liked our topic, as Holm just mentioned, is strategic intelligence. I really enjoyed how you opened and invited everyone to unmute themselves and raise a toast to strategic influence. That interactivity was the start of immediately brought attention and unity to the meeting. Often we act as Toastmasters in back to leadership with statement about strategic influence is not developed speakers but leaders. I like that you said that. And that your message fit perfectly with the club meeting and you made it seem meaningful. I also appreciated how you tied the theme name Leadership Speak into your toast and reminded us that there's a bigger purpose behind what we do. My recommendation would be to, in order to make your toast stronger, would be to add some vocal variety into your toast. I also like the fact that you did the quote of Peter Drucker. You could have, when you're doing your quote, pause a little bit after and what the power of the toast sink in. So overall, your toast was engaging, inspiring, and well aligned with our theme. You not only brought the room together in a shared action, but you also left us with the leadership message that reinforces why Leadership Speak is more than just a speaking club. It's a place where leaders are made. Thank you.
Thank you, Angela. Thank you, Angela.
Thank you.
In your evaluation, you had a good structure, highlighting what has been done well and what could be improved. One way I think you can add further value to the toast is to demonstrate specifically what do you imagine the toast to be. Is it the pauses? Is it members and guests? I invite you to raise your glasses and unmute yourself. What kind of vocal varieties do you imagine the toast to have? That would be wonderful to show us all. Thank you so much. Next, I'd like to invite the evaluator for our TMOD, who is Elfin Abra. He believes that strategic intelligence is mandatory because it can save us a lot of time and lead to great execution. Elfin, over to you.
Thank you, G.E. Holmes. Arouna Sow, put on the show today. The theme strategic intelligence really embodied to him today. Preparation, execution, I feel it's very smooth. I feel that he is in command on the entire meeting from preparation up to execution. That is him, well prepared. That is being strategic about having a foresight about what to be happened. Now, let me share my feedback to Arouna. First, the good parts. In leadership part, he is in command, giving instruction, prepare everything, including agenda and guestbook. I saw that checklist is well done. The second one, what I admire is listening skill, where in every speech, Arouna gave 1 to 2 sentences, which was very efficient. This is things that we took for granted sometimes. Give a remark to the speaker. What will be my suggestion? The first one is the comfort level. I feel that Arouna is not really relaxed. I feel that the pressure was very, very high. I know we are advanced club. The pressure is high, but the pressure is very good. Pressure that make we grow. What I suggest to you is smile more. Smile will fake your mind, will fake your brain, and will make you believe that everything will be better. This is applicable for me if I present in very big stage. I will be die if I make mistake. No, just smile and do it. And the impact of smiling, Arouna, it will give you focal variety. You will have the right pace, the right tone, and not only you that will relax, me and the other audience can also relax too, because I believe every audience can feel us. If we are not relaxed, they are also not relaxed, and the situation of the meeting will be not comfortable. And this is also, I saw a mispronounced in some speaker's title as also the aftermath of not being relaxed. So overall, Arouna, love your leadership, well prepared strategically, save your time, great listening skills, paraphrasing in great way, and just one thing to consider, smile more, it will bring many benefits. Vocal variety and more confident is the result. Back to you, Holmes.
Thank you so much, Elfin. I like how you spend time to elaborate on how people would get it if you were relaxed. A little point of an improvement could be that I realized that you were talking about unrelaxed, spend some time on talking about relaxed, then you jump back to how the mispronunciation of name was a sign of not being relaxed. It might be better if you focus a whole section together, even showing some signs of facial expression and body language of how people would feel that the anxiety is building up. Then move on to the being relaxed version, so it's a more complete set. Overall, well done, Alfred. Next, I'd like to invite Sandra Vox, who is evaluating the leadership, our Leadership Speak educational speaker. Sandra believes that as artificial intelligence and data bury and overwhelm the masses, a leader needs to strategically keep an eye on the grounded basics, the foundations, to cut through the fluff, lead the truth, and thus maintaining the balance in forward motion. Sandra, over to you.
Thank you, Holmes, for that wonderful introduction. Oh dear. And Marie, you certainly did bring foresight into preparing. It was wonderful to listen to your opening. I have a lot of notes here, so I'm going to just kind of bump through them. The opening, it's 9 a.m., a wham, 47 messages. Welcome, congrats, nice, and utterly useless. You had really natural variety and vocal, I'm going to call it vocal melody, because you really brought your gestures and your voice and your melody congruent. And I really saw that you were being sincere and passionate. You gave us credibility as a former PR of whichever club. That was your credibility that allowed us to know that you have a right to speak about this with authority as we step up in our welcoming process. You had really interesting, they were so interesting, I printed them off, but these two posters in particular, or slides in particular, the first one gave you your agenda so you could work through it, 3 points. And this one, that's your 47. Oh my goodness, it was powerful. 47, welcome, 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 congrats, but we haven't connected, which was your point. The human connection has been lost, just like when you go to work and you've got those 200 emails, like, what's that? That's not human. The blah, 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 blah. Beautifully put. The blah, blah, blah overwhelm. The foresight is the way to really, truly welcome and integrate into this new leadership country. I think of Leadership Speak as a leadership country of 33 countries. So congratulations also, you slowed down your pace. You continue to increase your ESL pronunciation, enunciation, taking care with it. So I didn't have to strain nearly as much. I've watched you grow and it's beautiful. Moving through your problem solution application was very clearly laid out about those clones. For an improvement, I do feel that the ESL challenge is still to be able to be thinking while delivering in English. And so most of the time you had this wonderful congruent smile on your face, but sometimes, because it's a long presentation, I think, sometimes you were serious and I could see you thinking ESL. At least that's what it felt like. So the challenge of the long speech is to stay with your natural congruent motion all the way through. Really made a good point about it, same in all the organizations. And are we starting just to be the same with these clones, instead of taking time to welcome people and welcome newcomers and then get matched up with maybe a mentor right there. I did study the audience faces and some heads were down. I thought maybe they were studiously making notes, and the ones who were watching were engaged in deep thought. So I believe you touched everyone, and I loved your humorous closing. So next time you see those 47 clones, don't roll your eyes. Move forward strategically. Thank you so much, Marie. Back to you, Holmes.
Thank you so much, Sandra. A clear example of an experienced and distinguished Toastmaster among us. With the details that you have, I felt it would be better for the whole audience, especially those who may not be as familiar with us, that if you could structure your evaluation, perhaps with an acronym, AIM, triple star, that helps us to focus our attention on 2 or 3 of the most important areas, which I thought you have. When you brought up the slides, you went through the example, you explained in detail. And then for the rest of the feedback, which I'm sure you have some more, I would encourage you then to share the rest in private with Marie or in one of the coaching sessions that we have. Overall, well done, Sandra. Thank you for the feedback you shared.
Thank you.
Next, I'd like to invite the evaluator for our first speaker. The evaluator is Wahinga Gichiga, and she believes that our meeting theme about strategic intelligence, it's a clear reminder for her that we need to continuously learn and evolve and not get flooded and flat-footed. Over to you, Wahinga.
Thank you, Toastmaster of the day. Phibian Joseph, what a speech it was. Thanks for letting us know that success and failure are 2 sides of the same coin in the journey of achievement. You did well in many things, especially in the start with the song. It was such a hook. We were all hooked up and waiting to see what more you would bring to the table. Other areas that you did so well was in vocal variety. And vocal variety comes out so well, especially when you have a personal story, because then you had a chance to use dialogue. You had a chance to raise your voice where the boss was angry. I like the whisper with the voices in our heads. And of course, the scrawny laughter that, of course, left the scar in you. So great use of vocal variety to enhance your speech. I also loved your body language. You had gestures, especially when you were emphasizing, and your facial expressions. You have great facial expressions for the different emotions that you had in the speech. The fear, the disgust, the scrawny laughter, you all had a different face for it. And I think your body speaks quite loudly and enhances your speech. Did you connect with the audience? I felt like you connected with the audience. First, with a personal story, because a story is a way to weave yourself into people's hearts. And your 2 stories weaved you to our hearts. We got to understand where you're coming from and made your topic today authentic. And like Sandra had said for the previous speaker, made you credible to give this speech. I like the childhood story, and I like the story of your boss. What could be done differently to enhance the speech? This, I felt, was meant to be a transformational speech, one that is meant to encourage us, to step up even when we fall. I would have loved to hear the point where you resolved to do a better report, or what you did to get out of your stutter. Who came into the picture? What happened? That's a transformation point that would have enhanced our speech for us to feel we want to do it just like Phibian did. So think about that when perhaps you said you want to do this speech for a contest. That would be a very great addition to that speech so that people can feel, whoa, I want to do it to my life like Phibian did it. What else would you work on? Time. I think time went quite beyond what was expected. I think you had 8 minutes, 22 seconds. Look at that, restructure your speech, see what you can cut off so that you can be able to add in what will add value to that speech. All in all, great speech, great vocal variety, body language, connection with the audience. Just work on the connection point, the transformation point, and your time, and you keep speaking. Back to you, General Evaluator.
Thank you, Wahinga. Wow, many points there. Somehow, I would like to give you a little bit of a personal challenge. Next time you do evaluation, I would like to ban you from saying a few phrases. What I like, what you could work on. Take this out. Go straight into the points and then speak slower so you can evaluate more, demonstrate more as you evaluate, especially on the emotions part. While you caught the emotions and you caught the techniques, some of us among the audience may have yet learned those techniques. Teach us, what did you observe? Thank you so much, Wahinga. Next, I'd like to invite the evaluator for our second speaker, Hannah Smith, who is Mineral Kanti Ghosh. Mineral believes that the team leading with strategic intelligence inspires him and all of us to think, act, and influence with clarity and vision. Over to you, Mineral.
Thank you. Fellow Toastmasters and dear Hannah, as I listened to your speech, I couldn't help but imagine as a beautiful journey. You started like a traveler who has just picked up a map, a little uncertain, but eager to explore. Yes, the map in your case was the theme of mentoring. First, the way you connected mentoring to your own journey showed us not just what mentoring is, but why it matters. That personal touch made the message more authentic. Second, you used Jessica, your mentor, almost like a character in a story. This gave your speech a narrative arc, making it more relatable and engaging. Third, your passion was your evidence. When you spoke about building confidence and overcome fear, I could sense the sincerity, and sincerity always inspired. Let me talk about few things you could incorporate in your speech. Let us imagine your speech as a three-course meal. The starter was strong. Your opening question: do you understand the power of mentoring? You can take a pause for more attention from the audience. Next time, when you start with a small story bite, perhaps a quick incident, how mentoring changed a moment of your life. The main course had solid ingredient, a role of mentors, your DTM journey, differences between mentoring and coaching. To make it even more tastier, organize this point with a clear transitions, like moving from appetizer to the main dishes smoothly. Finally, the dessert. Your conclusion, you left us reflecting, but you could make it sweeter by summarizing your key messages in one crisp line. Mentoring is not just a guidance, it is a gentle nudge that transforms life. So, overall, Hannah, your speech was like a mentoring handshake, firm, warm, and encouraging. With a little more structure and storytelling spice, it will not just inspire but also linger the minds of your audience long after you step down. Thank you. Over to you, General Evaluator.
Thank you, Mineral. You had a good evaluation And as a manager, I'd like to talk a little bit about the executive presence on Zoom. I realized that as you were speaking, it looks like you were flashing, perhaps because of the lighting, and there was a bit of echo coming from your background. That would have impacted your credibility because of the voice and your visual if you were to present at the world stage, which we are all preparing for. I'm sure you could work it out, and the next time we hear you, it will be Menro with an excellent executive presence. Thank you so much, Menro. Next, I'd like to invite Vinod Panicker, who believes that even if we have a goal, a plan, a vision, these are not strategies. What is key here is you need the strategic intelligence. Then you have the key to success as a leader. Let's hear from Vinod. Over to you.
Thank you very much, General Evaluator. Toastmaster Rozy gave an amazing presentation, so I will be evaluating her speech using a presentation. And I believe everybody can see the presentation over here. I just need a nod from someone that the presentation is visible. Yes, thank you, Sandra. So Rozy, what's in your cup? We all know that Toastmaster Rozy eats, sleeps, and breathes coffee. There was a foresight that something related to coffee was coming, but in hindsight, we learned leadership lessons. Thank you very much for that. What felt effective to me was the opening. You made sure that in the one slide, you showed complexity, that actually how should we see life or things? Is it half full, half the water analogy, which I personally like. I always say, don't think about whether the glass is half full or half empty. Just drink it if you are thirsty. No need to think too much. Then about the Brian Tracy's book, the like what you say, no, Eat That Frog. That set a clear, like what you say, no, path for your success, or as a speech what was coming. So now your job was to break those complex ideas into simple one, and you did a fab job. As soon as you compared leadership styles with different coffees, because coffee is a metaphor which can be easily, like, everybody understand, even though people may not, everybody may not drink it, but we may drink, some may drink tea, but everybody understands it. And I would recommend you give this advice to Toastmasters International to change their speech of understand and communication and leadership style to use some nice metaphors so that it becomes interesting in Toastmasters. So that I felt was very powerful over there. Then the comparisons, espresso to focused leadership, cappuccino to balanced, I felt that was very effective. And this is a keynote material. I would love you to develop this into a detailed keynote of 1 hour or a full 6 hours training course. Now, how could, like what you say, you spice up the coffee or roast it a little bit more? What I personally felt was you took us into your coffee shop and you made us taste all the coffee, but didn't give us time to enjoy it. It was like zoop, 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 zoop. After the fourth cup, I was like, which coffee is actually I'm tasting? I could not get that. So I would have loved if you could have taken a little bit of time to explain, or you could have just showed an image. For example, if espresso was focused or direct, just in another slide show an image so that image stays with us, not only the coffee image. What were you trying to tell? The second thing which I felt could have been done was, in your closing, when you asked us what is in your cup, I actually wanted to type it, but then you stopped. This is what you wanted, the audience connection. You could have actually left us with asking what type of coffee you are or what type of leader you are, and everybody would have engaged, and then you would have ended. So behind every successful leader is a substantial amount of coffee, inspired by Rozy Rana. Thank you very much for the speech. My time is over, so I'll give it back to the general evaluator. Back to you, Holmes.
Wow.
Another one of our experienced and distinguished Toastmasters in leadership speak. who did a PowerPoint slide that was what, half an hour or so, and took multiple screenshots of the speaker, exhibiting the creative, innovative, and good uses of technology on an online meeting. A little bit of challenge, Vinod, to push you further. I'd like to see your face on the PowerPoint slide and your body expressions so we can learn more from you. Thank you so much, Vinod. Next, I'd like to invite Ray Rivolo. We will be evaluating our fourth speaker. Ray believes that leadership isn't just randomly guiding a group. There has to be goal or goals in mind to accomplish and help motivate others to grow and improve. Over to you, Ray.
Thank you very much, Mr. General Evaluator. Eirini, I love how you spoke clearly and eloquently. You spoke with a bit of confidence, even though this is an icebreaker and your first speech here at Leadership Speak. I noticed that your message is very similar to what Phibian said in an earlier speech. The dilemma and the being challenged and the persistence to overcome those challenges. Sometimes we all feel that we get shot down and turn into a pile of ash. But we have to rise up. Maybe stick that hand out and become another phoenix, rising from those ashes. And yes, we all relate to what you have been through. We've all have been there and done that. And thanks for confidently sharing your experience. We are not alone at how we feel. And you express that quite admirably. And most importantly of all, I wasn't sure with all the information that you were going to present it in 6 minutes. You did. Great job. Now, let's see what we can do to improve upon it. 2 suggestions. I noticed that you just used the left hand exclusively, with one on the side. I would challenge that you use both hands to express your ideas, not just to illustrate your main transition points, which you did well, but to also use them to illustrate your journey. Substitute the verbal with the nonverbal. And I also noticed you stood at one spot. That's very common when we're learning how to speak, that we just want to freeze and just go in the same position. Let's use the stage, even something like the Zoom stage, where we're trying to figure out how we're going to move, especially with the transitions. Because the audience will notice the transitions when you make the transition to say, this is an important point that I'm going to make. Challenges, because we want to hear the next time what you want to say. I noticed that your eyes weren't straight at the camera. The camera is always the window to an audience in an online meeting. I noticed they're kind of off, and I think I know the reason. There's a lot of information you want to share, and sometimes you just aren't sure that you're going to express that in the right words that you wrote down. And so I noticed a little bit that your eyes were kind of like this. But that's okay. This just takes practice. And when we post this video onto the Leadership Speak YouTube channel, take some time to review the speech. Watch it. See what you can do to improve the gestures, the eye contact, and maybe just figure out a way if I can make this speech better, because you can carry it on to the next speech, and the next one, and the next one, and the next one. Over to you, Mr. General Evaluator Holmes.
Ray, that is one of the rare evaluations that I get multiple goosebumps moments while listening to you, especially when you help me to recap some of the deeper moments using your sorry voice. and your effective use of pauses. A personal challenge to you, Ray, is when you say good job, when you say things are well done, how about having a slightly different voice? More excitement and a brighter smile. Thank you so much, Ray. Next, I'd like to invite our evaluator for the fifth speaker, Luciano Dual. He believes that strategy is an enabler to achieve your objectives in life. Over to you, Luciano.
Thank you, Mr. General Evaluator. Iris, with your speech, your icebreaker, was delivered with the foresight of a already professional speaker. When it comes to icebreaker, we usually evaluate. It's an opportunity for a member to present himself and start speaking about the club, in the club. But you excel that. That only shows that you are a professional. You are good at it in delivering your speech. That's good. And during your speech, there are key points that you really excelled at. The opening, really good opening, and you described what you were going to tell the audience. Usually on an icebreaker, you start talking about yourself, but you decided to tell the story. And you told us that you were going to tell the story. That's the important thing. And the good thing about using the story is that you anchor two items that everybody could relate to. We all some have the experience of being fired on the job and that journey going back home, what someone feels. You connected with the audience and people were talking in the chat. That's one item very important. That's one item very important. And also at the beginning, when you asked people to raise their hand, you were connecting.
September 11th.
Sorry, someone is speaking in the background.
Please confirm.
Thank you. Okay, so that's extremely important. And there were a couple of points that you asked me to look at in your speech. Those were your personal objectives. Speech flow. I really like the speech flow, how you delivered your speech, and we could follow the emotions through your speech. When you started removing the glasses and the word, you started speaking slower. So we could follow that. And when it comes with connecting with the audience, you really did connect with the audience because after you asked the questions, people raised their hands. People was also talking in the chat about what you said in your story. That's extremely important. The clarity was there in the language. Good. And one of the last point that you asked is the relevance of the speech. That's extremely important because there's a key message that you said is you may fall down. That fall could be the opening of a new opportunity. So one should always look at the perspective. There are things that happen in your life, bad experiences, but also there's another opportunity for that, which you showed. You were fired from your job, but you got another employment with a bigger company, and you're able to grow. So that's a very important item. What I would like you to work on is work on your timing so that you can have enough time to close your speech. That's one item. And the other item is use the pauses to emphasize the message. That will be key. And my challenge to you is continue with the same energy and excitement in your next speech. Thank you very much. Over to you, Mr. Toastmaster. Mr. General Evaluator, sorry.
Thank you so much, Luciano. What amazed me about Luciano's evaluation was how he could remain calm, confident, and in control throughout the entire evaluation, despite there being interruptions. One area which I think Luciano can work on in his future evaluations is to add the summary behind, so we don't lose out on the important essence of his earlier part of his evaluation. Thank you so much, Luciano. Having seen all the prepared speeches evaluation, I'd like to invite next the grammarian to deliver the grammarian's report. Our grammarian, Nellie Jane, believes that our team today is a team where vision can turn into action. Over to you, Nellie Jane.
Thank you so much, General Evaluator. As your grammarian tonight, it was my role to attentively listen to the use of language, our choice of words, expression, and grammar all throughout the meeting. And I am so happy to report that several members use our word of the day, foresight, in their speeches and evaluations. Muhammad Azimuddin used it once, Sandra used it once, Luciana used it once. In addition, I'd also like to highlight some memorable quotes, thoughts, sayings that caught my attention tonight. First is leadership is a compass that points us when landmarks disappear, by Muhammad Azimuddin. Marie Cusin said, focus, filter ruthlessly, organize systematically, connect strategically, use proactively, scale wisely. Phibian Joseph also told us, we fall down, but we get up. Good happens when we dare to move forward. Hannah told us about DTM, dedication to mastery. Rozy, coffee is like leadership. And Alvin, smile more. It will bring many benefits. These powerful words added inspiration, wisdom, and even a touch of excitement in our meeting. This is my grammarian report for today. And let's not forget to use the word of the day, foresight, in our further communication. Over to you, General Evaluator.
Thank you, Nellie. I observed that Nellie not only listened very carefully to all the speakers, but she has also put in effort to remind all of us that foresight is the word of the day today. In future grammarian roles, two things that Nellie may want to consider is firstly, were there areas where speakers could have used the word foresight, but used a synonym or completely avoided that word? Secondly, in the good uses of language, were there particular themes or techniques that were being used? It would be good to highlight them so the next time the audience can be more sensitive to some good uses of language. Thank you so much, Nellie. I also like to thank our timer, Robin Stone, who has posted the timings of our evaluations in the Zoom chat. Thank you so much, Robin. I'd like to invite the Zoom master to launch the poll for the best effort evaluator. Zoom master.
Give me a minute. Is it up?
One moment, let me configure that, no worries. Okay. Members, I guess as you are filling in the poll for the best effort evaluator, I would also like to proceed with my general evaluation. This goes especially to our guest. As you attend each leadership speak meeting, see it not as coincidence. See it that it is a product of intentional and systematic preparation, where each role is trained, each set of speakers and evaluators are encouraged to connect with one another, that each speaker have multiple opportunities at club-organized training sessions to practice, to revise, and in some of our speakers' case, revolutionize their speeches just in the past 2 to 5 days. This is what is going on in each and every single leadership speak meeting. In addition to that, we, like any other club, also do face last-minute changes, last-minute dropouts. I don't know how many of you noticed, but there is a difference in what is written on the agenda and what was actually done. One person I like to commend here is Ray, who took up the role, an additional role of greeter, managing all our guests and members that are coming in addition to his role as the prepared speech evaluator for speaker number 4. As of any meeting, there will be some areas of improvements. Many of them have been pointed out by our evaluators, and a few things I like to re-emphasize here for everybody's learning purposes. Number 1, to all members as well as future members, when you come to leadership speak, when you come to a meeting and present yourself, you own the stage. The stage is yours. It doesn't matter who is in the audience, because you are empowered to control, to command, and to guide us in our attention. You can use whatever technique you want. Stories, vocal varieties, acting, singing, which we have some today. Guide our imagination, guide our understanding, and be present because you are empowered with the stage. Start with the attitude of being empowered. And yes, we will feel anxious, but despite feeling anxious, we can execute with executive presence. First point, executive presence. Second point, sometimes we have a lot of different things that we want to say. And this, unfortunately, becomes a bigger problem when you have more experience than something. You will be able to share more things, identify more things. However, many of us in the audience may have an unequal skill, knowledge, or sometimes in my case, I say, my brain is limited, I'm shutting down. So when we present, it is always helpful to slow down, to structure, and when you can, add some analogies, add some demonstrations, so that your most important points get captured by the audience and they become central takeaways. That is not just a one meeting or one speaker thing and then, oh, I forgot what the speaker was saying. It becomes something that they can take with them for a very long time to come. And thirdly, this is what I have observed many of us are going through. Always enjoy every single Toastmasters meeting. Because when you smile, when you enjoy, when you're happy, you learn more, you demonstrate more, and the best version of yourself can come up. All my 3 feedback: presence. Learn to emphasize on the most important point. Have fun and smile. This applies to every single role we have here. And I also hope, I also believe this applies in your life outside of Toastmasters. Thank you very much. With that, I'd like to hand back over to the Toastmaster of the day, Arouna, to guide us towards the last portions of the meeting. Arouna.
Thank you very much, Holmes, for this general evaluation. And now we will move on to the section about the thoughts of the theme, which will be delivered by our dear E.J. McDowell.
Yeah. Leading with strategic intelligence. Imagine a championship team. They've got skill, passion, and energy. But what really sets them apart is strategy. Every play connects, every intention, every person knows their role. That's not luck, that's leadership. And that's who we are here in our advanced club. We aren't just speakers practicing speeches. We are leaders practicing strategic intelligence. Because when we lead with strategic intelligence, something powerful happens. We transform data into insight and we master decision making. Think about it. Every evaluation sharpens awareness. Every role trains us to see patterns others miss. Every meeting is a live laboratory where we connect ideas, test approaches, and stretch beyond comfort zones. We don't simply speak here at Leadership Speak. We engage, we evaluate, we succeed together. And because we lead with strategic intelligence, we don't just stay relevant. We set the standard. We remain at the top, not by chance, but by choice. That's the power of us. Strategy in action, leadership in motion, a championship team right here. Thank you very much. This has been a great meeting, leading with strategic intelligence. Back to you, Toastmaster of the Day.
Thank you very much, Gigi. At Leadership Speak, we don't not speaking. We're not speaking. We set the standards, not by change, by choice. Now it is time to have the results of the pool of best effort speaker and also for the best effort evaluator. So I will invite our peer master to share the results of the tool. For the best evaluator effort, the winner is congratulations, Vinod, and congratulations, Rozy, for winning the best evaluator effort, and also for the first best evaluator effort, and also for the best speakers effort. Now I will invite our dear President, Holmes, for receiving the feedback from our dear guest. Holmes, the floor is yours.
Thank you so much, Luciano. Let me call upon a few guests as well as our newer members to share their feedback for the meeting. Hope, are you available to speak?
Yes, I am.
Hello, Hope. How's the meeting for you?
It was wonderful. I joined in a little bit late, but I have totally enjoyed myself. Definitely so much to learn. I come from Yenga Toastmasters Club in Uganda, and so this has been a very good opportunity to just listen to a different way of doing things. It's definitely worth attending. I'm so glad I logged into this meeting.
Thank you so much, Hope. I'm glad you enjoyed the meeting. And you are welcome back every time you have time to join us again. Thank you so much, Hope. Jane, are you available to speak, Jane? Jane A. Hello, Jane. How's your day and how did you find the meeting?
I'm sorry for that. Hey, thank you so much for the chance. I've really enjoyed the meeting. I enjoyed the way you are organized, extremely organized, and managed to have 5 speakers, 5 extraordinary speakers. Thank you so much for the opportunity to learn and the immediate feedback almost after every. You gave quite a lot of evaluations after quite a number of speakers. I found that quite useful. I'm Jane Amisi from Nairobi, Kenya, and I'm a member of Toastmasters. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Jane. We appreciate your presence and you are welcome to visit us whenever you have time. Thank you so much, Jane. I also like to invite some feedback from some of our latest members. Helene, are you there? Helene?
Yeah, hello. Yeah, I'm here. Today was my first time. I was sergeant at arms, and I felt very nervous, but finally I did it, and I feel happy. Yeah, thank you very much. And I
Tell us a little bit about the training and whether it helped you.
yeah, yeah, I feel very happy because I have received supportive of many members of the club, and yeah, I feel grateful for that. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Helene. Leopoldina, are you available to speak? Okay, with that, let me hand back over to the Toastmasters of the day to adjourn this meeting. For those who have time, you're welcome to stay on for a short chat. Over to you, Arouna.
Thank you very much, Holmes. We are coming to the end of my service as Toastmaster of the Day, and I would like to thank all the role players, all the speakers and evaluators. And we are an advanced club. And as you know, feedback is the breakfast of champions. So thank you for all the evaluators for this insightful feedback. And now I will adjourn the meeting. Back to you, dear President Holmes. Zoom Master.